Scenario 1, we're going to do basic Shamblers versus a group of people on the road. This is going to be a daylight encounter. Most of the staff is running as rank 1s, custom rank 1 and a custom rank 2. PCs are playing as PCs. We're good.
Lay on! And then we all just burn and Takedown! I don't care about that. Because there's just oh no! What are you doing? Oh, no, another one! About as tough as a rank 1. Oh. Yep. See, it's not yeah, but that's it's not 2 or 3. So why do you think I hate me? I only hate me. That was the quietest fight I've ever heard in my life. Okay, it's a timing. Yeah, I was about to say, it's still a cadence, isn't it? It's not just good. Help me. Okay, cool. Just making sure. Red? Sure. Takedown. Come, get some. Die. Breathing down like a couch. Rest. I can't. Holy crap. And then we run from like 200 yards out. Dead. Yes, we are still on the phone. Two left. I gotta rebuy my eyelash. Which is what makes it so much fun. I did something! Warn me!
Scenario 2, we're going to have Shamblers and a homebrew tank as well. Tank is going to be a rank 3 for our custom mechanics. PCs are going to be engaging on that as well. It's going to be another standard open field combat. 3, 2, 1, lay on!
Alright, let's go kill some shit. I haven't done it too. This will be fun. Alright. Hello. Okay. Yeah, should.
And that one's got
Iron Fist doesn't exist. Iron Fist doesn't exist.
Look at that. There's a big one, gang.
Yeah, all technically big ones?
No, there's
a large one.
Oh, you guys.
Thank you, melee people. Thank you for this. This is fantastic.
This is
wall.
Hey,
wall.
circle.
Wall, Travis, wall. Running this way. Go over here. Wall.
It's a go. That was my chest, so that doesn't hit him. My back.
Wall.
Ouch, that's so hard.
I know, these are so dumb.
That's part of my problem. Is I'm like, and react to that.
Wall. Oh, this is good. This works. Okay. I got it. For the sake of this. Scattershot. Gotta practice. Boyd. Practice. There's another big one.
I'm trying to make sure.
I got one that really likes coming after me.
Yeah, cut the grass. Cut the grass. So that's actually
Takedown.
Alright, we got this big one. Takedown.
That's right now.
Yeah. For takedown.
It's so different.
Takedown.
Is anyone who's waiting in front?
Behind.
Running away now. Running away.
Circle around so I can take him down. Takedown. Get him. No.
Take down, Soren. Soren, take down.
Scenario 3, we're going to do a nighttime event, rank 3 custom tank with rank 3's custom hunters.
Looking back at the encounter that we just saw, 3 rank 3 hunters and a rank 3 tank, what are people's critiques? Understanding that this test was specifically one of the harder groups of creatures that we have statted out all put together.
But it's one of the realistic ones for us at event.
Yep.
It really depends on the group that encounters it. Like if it was our group and they had all of the full stacks, we may end up losing 1 or 2 characters, or at least getting them put into bleed out. If they were a much larger group or a much more capable group, then it would be a good challenge. The only thing I'm worried about, of course, is when you're running in the middle of the dark and tripping over things.
And that's a worry pretty much in general. Do people feel that there is anything stat-wise or anything that we should tweak? Because we're trying to get our baseline to go along with the 3.0 rules baseline, or did you feel that this was a reasonable encounter and the group was smaller than PCs should realistically bring out to deal with something?
It is only your face. You're right.
Reasonable. We had 1 or 2 people go into bleed out, which seems, like what we want in a more difficult fight like this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all of us just got flattened like pancakes. We still definitely had a chance. We still handled it, but it was rough. Lexi got her leg mangled. That happens.
Yeah.
I think that it had a good sense of danger.
Yeah, I had to work a little bit. I was also handicapping myself because I was using a two-hander, which I'm not good at. And yeah, I could definitely tell the difference between that because people were hitting me more often, but that's a lot of me with a two-hander. But there was still just the whole... Yeah, I had to use some mind for all the mangles, and I had to use a couple takedowns, and then I got mangled from behind, so I'm like, one arm, okay, one hand is two-hander. Fuck, what do I do now?
For reference, what is your character's build right now? Is it 30-30, 25-30?
3140.
3140, and you were out, right? Out of mind?
I had one thing left.
So 5 mind left.
Yeah.
Alright, so roughly the stats on everything was roughly 20 body on the hunters, 60 body on the rank 3 tank. Then there was additional skills, but we scaled the skills to accordingly support what we would use in a normal environment, a normal scenario for us.
Do people feel that there were an excessive number of mangles, an excessive number of called skills by the Zed, or did you feel that that was pretty balanced for the level of the encounter?
It's what we were used to, I think, actually.
And that's the question, because we're not...
Because we have, well, at least I have half the mind now. And I'm going to say that that was a lot of skills. I'm not quite at... It was too many, but it was a lot.
I think the main adjustment for me was that there were only 2 main skills that I heard being called at all, and that was Mangle and Takedown. So it was weird for me to have such a cut down in the diversity of calls, but that's just sort of a new
Yeah, I
reality.
haven't heard anybody use any of the proficient or master levels.
Nothing we've made has
yeah.
them.
I didn't use
we're
any
not,
of mine either.
We're not testing with the fancier skills yet. This is, like I said, the point of this is to get a baseline so that as we start building threats for Colorado, we have a baseline for what is challenging, what is fodder that is dangerous in a large group but people can deal with and give people those hero moments, and what is truly dangerous, where our bar for dangerous for a group is, and that's really what we're trying to get.
One of the things that I saw that was really helpful in all the combats was, especially when I was throwing all my stuff, I saw him pick up, I think...
Yeah, I was picking up, but...
Yeah, picking up the weapons and using them like you would in like if she dropped her...
Everyone can throw now.
Yeah,
everybody
exactly.
can throw now, so everybody can just run by, grab a thrown, toss.
So if I break this weapon, and I have another, or somebody has 2.
In 2-0, can't you do that anyway if you have
throwing?
Which not everybody has.
So the difference is that everyone has throwing in 3.
Yeah.
So downed thrown weapons are usable by anyone that happens to be near them.
Yep.
Being on the side of the hunter is something this scenario demonstrated to me. Is 20 body goes a lot farther than I expected it to. When everyone's throwing or swinging ones, 20 body lasts you a while.
And I think that's true on the PC side as well.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
PCs are a little tougher. Zed are a bit tougher, like more so than the PCs.
I mean, if you're not going against people that have guns,
yeah,
it's a pretty level playing field. The only difference is that there are more Zed. And to be fair, that was supposed to be the feel in 2.0 and 1.0, and all of them was people, small communities against the horde.
Right.
And that's been difficult to do because of the amount of people that you have on shift. I feel that we are now closer to being able to do that if it's done intelligently, and if it's done with the PC's fun in mind. Then we have that opportunity to make that relentless horde feel more realistic.
And as far as the gun jockeys and the gun bunnies in the game against Zed, it's like, oh crap, I just shot you 6 times. I have and I have to get away from you to reload. That is much more realistic, and it can be really scary.
Yeah, I know Molly ran into that where, like, in the first scenario that I was in with the hunters, she'd used up all her shots, and like people were down, and she's like, I have to reload. I can't.
I think also we need to keep in mind that although we were running night scenarios, it was still day, and people actually at night, like trying to go to bed and stuff, will probably react a little differently to it, in more of the sense of it takes them a second. Oh wait, there's actually something there coming after me, because with us all in blacks on NPC shift, the hiding is usually a lot more.
I think it's important to also remember what percentage of mine did everyone use during that fight?
Half.
35 out of 40.
35 out of 40. So if we're using about half our mine for one difficult fight, and the meals are, like you were saying, a little more difficult to refresh, it's just one thing to consider in terms of let's run a few of these in a row.
Yep. The flip of that, so we did do one where we pushed everyone down, and I think we should do more of those to represent a second fight. The other habit that we're unfortunately going to have to break is you have to be much more judicious what you decide to spend your mind on.
Oh yeah, no question.
Like,
I didn't spend
maybe you take that knockdown
because of that. Yeah.
Because you don't want to spend, or the mangle, because hey, I can walk and still fight. They hit me in the leg and not in the arm or whatever, and maybe that's and being more judicious. And I agree. Like, there's also the whole balance of meals and all that kind of stuff, and that's something that we're gonna have to figure out as a team and as a community.
And Mangle self-repair an hour later.
Yeah, you get mangled down the leg right before bed. It'll be fine in the morning. Just go to bed. It hurts. But
So, but that's something to keep in mind. Is that yes, we have less mind. Yes, that makes things more difficult. The flip is we need to get out of the 2.0 mindset of having these huge pools of mind to sink. That's part of the tactics now.
Using normal, actual, real-world combat tactics that we learn for the little guys, and spending that mind for the boss or bosses that we have.
or when it's something that's going to take you out of the fight completely. Like maybe you're fighting with a two-hander. Maybe you save your avoids. Obviously, you got mangled from behind this, but in a general example, like you would save your avoids from the front for your arms.
Yeah, I got 3 mangles from the front on my arms, and then I'm like, avoid, avoid, avoid.
Yeah. But say, making that decision, it's like, I need to keep my arms. I don't care so much about my legs. I'm going to save my mind for avoids on my arms because that's where I'm combat effective right now.
Scenario 4, we're doing mechanics regarding medical, recovery, and down players. So this will be a scenario of the 5th wave of Shamblers in a tank assaulting the PCs. The PCs have a lot of their resources tapped. And then we're going to try and see how long they can sustain. We're using a 2.0 mechanic of a first aid, sawbones bag, first aid kit to bring a PC up in 30 seconds, and we're going to try to overrun them. Go. Go.
What did people think?
I think that 30 seconds was actually about right. I think we would have gotten absolutely wrecked if it were 2 minutes.
So that is something that we made the call on the before the scenario. The current mechanics dictate 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes?
Yep.
With no skills, 2 minutes. With a 10th Doctor, you're down to 1 minute currently, and a crash kit gives you down to 30 seconds.
And that's with the 2.0 mechanics. 3.0 mechanics is 2 minutes, right? And then any modifications post that with proficiency or master?
So
no.
It doesn't actually speed it up. Proficient with, I think it's the Candlepin medical kit, allows you to extend bleed out to 10 minutes, which helps in a way, but it's also still very difficult.
One of the additional skills used was master combat tactics, gathering everybody around in a 10-foot radius and healing 20 body that Sarah performed as Jidon, which uses a resolve and no mind, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
We also used basic combat tactic. No, it wasn't basic combat tactics. It was the basic faith skill,
which is all TVs, heal 5 body.
Yep. That was used. Escape was used.
Yep.
Rescue was used.
Oh, rescue. Thank you. Yeah, rescue was used.
Yeah, you used that on me. Right?
The scenario consisted of 1 tank and several Shamblers. So the statting was similar to what would normally happen in the event of what we're doing for that type of scenario. Critiques on statting of the Zed that chased you guys. Any questions, concerns, gripes?
If they were runners, you'd be good.
Okay, so if they were hunters or fast-moving Zed, PCs would have been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, bleed out timer, I'd be dead.
Oh, if it was 2 minute?
If it's a 2 minute bleed out timer and that was not added the extra 10 minutes, or the extra.
Bleed out time.
Bleed out is
takes
5
2 minutes
minutes
to stabilize.
Yes.
Right. But you said the Candlepin thing can extend your bleed out timer.
To 10 minutes.
Right.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I would have died at that point then. Because by the time Seth got to me, I was already at 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out there that by using the 2.0 ones, we were able to survive longer. But
well, you still have the 5 minutes. It's 2 minutes for first aid.
I was down there for 3.5 minutes before Seth got to me.
2 minutes for first aid would have meant that he would have died.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
Now that didn't take into account any injectables, which are still a thing, right?
Yeah, injectables and brews, yes.
Okay.
We also
But we're also doing a no equipment, which will change.
Would be the second and third play test. Second play test is going to consist with everybody needs to have a bag of some sort. So you can simulate fighting with your supply bag.
Okay.
So you can see how cumbersome, how it feels, how it weights. And then that one is more for creature comforts of the player to see how they like their gear to sit. And then 3.0, or not 3.0, the third play test before we go fully live will consist of doing proficient at a minimum for several pieces of gear for those who can use proficient gear.
So another thought that I would float, talking about changes in mindset from 2.0 to 3.0, a design choice that I see inherent in the reduction of methods to reduce the first aid timer, that implies to me that injured characters are meant to be removed from the fight and treated on a back line. I don't think we're meant to be triaging people in the field as much anymore.
Everyone has carry 1, right?
Carry is a natural skill.
and you can't raise carry. There's not a
so you have to walk at a normal pace.
Upon the realization that the situation was really bad, I think that like Aiko could have used his skill to get the TVs up sooner if it was necessary, because that would have gotten me up, and then I could do the faster combat tactics on the other people who were bleeding.
Yeah.
I think we thought that we were going to be able to do it without that, and then I suddenly realized as soon as I was stabilized, oh wait, I still can't use skills because I'm just stable, and that was a problem.
Okay, well, there's the thing of I could have done the master combat tactics. I just thought that it was going to be done, but then it looked like everybody picked up all the bleeders, so I just kept
I
was also with
till
the
the
30
end.
seconds. Still, I was
So
also with the 30
a better
second
way
first
to
aid
do it
for
would
the
have
most part.
been take the 3 people and put them in like a 10-foot circle away from the fight, and then somebody, if you need it, somebody would use cut the big combat tactics or.
That's also on the assumption that there are people with that. If this is a normal fighting scenario without this crazy stuff, people would die.
Who here's planning on taking that? Just out of curiosity.
Pretty
Like,
much anybody.
Everybody who has access to master skills is a combatant, I think.
So the big caveat is we're showing the level of strength of how big the master combat tactics skill is. It's almost the new
Mind resist.
call, mine resist, whatever the go-to skill is. Either we bring up to discussion the tuning of that, restriction of that, or something else, but that is the mandatory skill for a lot of people.
It still burns resolve. So over a weekend, that's still going to balance out. Even if a bunch of people have it, we're going to be burning resolve for other stuff, which will make that less and less available.
Because it's an area of effect, though, it's going to be very strong.
5-9 build to get
it
up, and you have access to master skills. I'll give you that. But if
Yeah.
you are a full tinker,
But you're also using resolve for
Yes.
master level
Yeah.
tinkering. You're using resolve for abilities on your items. Like so, there are still things that are going to burn your resolve through the weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, but this also makes it difficult just like for starting chapters is my concern. Like starting chapters, a bunch of new players, no one's going to have that. So you're going to have to go with the 2-minute first aid. You're going to have to
They're
go
also
with
going to be statting with that in mind, though.
I mean, I should be.
Should be. Yes, should be.
But even
Well, and the chapter can introduce items and prints that are local to chapter that aid that at lower levels.
okay.
No, that is 100% like what we have been told from National is that they are setting a baseline. Chapters can do local chapter mechanics and local chapter systems based on their game. So if you have a new game, then creating a local item or a local reason that healing is quicker for a while or whatever, you can do that to get your game off the ground. And that's actually what they expect to happen.
Okay.
So somebody like me who travels a lot, is there going to be the thing of like I have my nationally recognized item wallet, and then my Dead Stop wallet, and then my Paradiso wallet,
So
and then my
any
Crystal Creek
items
wallet?
items that are created locally will be marked as local chapter only. You may have them, but you can't take them with you somewhere else.
Well, yeah,
yes.
like I can't use my Paradiso gear in Dead Stop, and I can't use my Dead Stop gear, but
You can use your national gear anywhere.
yeah.
So what about permissions between chapters? No.
Typically, no, unless
Okay.
they're both using the same mechanic kit. Now,
Okay.
like if we get together with Paradiso and we're doing a joint weekend or a joint arc, and we create an item that we both publish as this is something we're using, then that item would be usable in both, but not be able to go somewhere else.
So like the
You have to craft
transmitter
it
thing that we were
both
using.
places.
No, so like here's an example. Let's say we have an arc that is based around finding this weird pre-fall device that every half an hour pumps out a random brew. Those brews would be marked local chapter only because we're even if they're standard brews, because we're generating them through an abnormal mean, they would be local chapter only. However, if both us and Paradiso are using that custom mechanic kit, then those brews would be usable here or in Paradiso, but you couldn't go to Oregon and use it there.
Okay.
And also you can put on a lifespan of those items. It's like it works for 3 months and then done, gone,
Yep.
or however you want to do it.
Standard expiration.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding this scenario, folks? Before we go into scenario 5, where we have our actual bruisers in full combat tactic mode.
I would float one other question, just since we didn't really do it during this scenario. Do we feel that things might have changed had we all been crawling while in Bleed Out?
Yeah.
It would have helped.
Because then anyone and everyone could have gotten to the Master Battle Technician or Tactician or whatever the right word is. And if you get to them and they get up, that entire zone is fine.
Yeah. Scenario 5, we actually have our bruisers online. We're going to go up against another set of Shamblers, a couple tanks, and one hunter. This time we'll be calling combat tactics and we'll be moving as we normally do with some of their heavy hitters on the line.
From the Shambler side, because I play Shamblers a lot in 2.0, these I actually kind of feel like they're more effective now because they do have that bit more body. They can stay up a little longer, whereas before it was just kind of you smack them and they fell over. Weren't more of a distraction and fodder than actually putting up any kind of fight.
I think that's a lot to do with like the weapon reduction damage as to why they actually feel like, Zed, just a basic Shambler, is something that's like, I can't take all these on my own.
80 body took a long time for them to kick me down. That's all I'm saying.
But they don't have resistance for bullets either, or ranged. They have no resistance to melee or ranged. Okay. So melee can actually just maintain it in place, and range can actually pelt it down and shred it down.
Yeah,
so if focus firing and paying attention, and then that means if you have 3 shield bruisers online boxing a tank in, and everybody else just quickly dispatches all the trash or the lower threats, then now you have range to, subject to being affected by ranged weaponry. They can just gunline it, blitz it down.
This is where Lore Zed is going to come in really handy.
Determining which ones.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
Do we know how that's going to be implemented still?
Not yet. There's still a lot of things that we don't know.
We know that lores are generally not going to be field skills anymore. Okay. They're getting rid of the concept of research as it's been done.
Sure.
Generally what it will be is if you have a lore, scenarios will have envelopes or markers saying if you have this lore, you can open this and get the information in it by interacting with it. And that's generally where lores are going to be used.
Okay. But over the course of the day, I've been trying to swap from melee or from flow to two-handed just to test it out. And in the current system, with two-handed doing significantly less damage and or doing the same amount of damage as a set of smaller weapons or faster weapons, it is hard to understand why I would want to pick two-handed.
Reach.
Sure.
That's literally why. Reach.
Hide behind the shield wall if you can get the shield wall to hold still. My thing that I noticed a lot of was I was attracting a lot of the Scattershot abilities because people just couldn't get past my shield without it, which is a thing that happens in 2.0 with wide strike. People get tired of your shield, they start wide striking, you parry, but now I've got half the mind, and
it's harder.
A lot of the things had the Scattershot.
Right, and you're holding a shield and a sword. If I say Scattershot, break, what breaks?
Scattershot, break, shield.
Do I still qualify that?
Say
what
you
now
break.
You're qualifying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that I was
Interesting.
told was not what I did. So.
Yeah, Scattershot break shield, Scattershot break weapon.
Okay.
If they have 2 weapons, that's when they get to pick which one gets broken.
Question. For thrown weapons, with Scattershot, does that break all your thrown weapons or just what you have in your hand?
For thrown weapons, a set of 6 is considered a weapon.
Right.
So the mechanic is...
all 6 of them.
Well, that's what we need clarification on. Because is it what you're holding, like if you have a brace of knives and you have one in your hand. So I understand what you're saying. I'm saying we need to get clarification on that because technically you wield them as individual weapons, but they're considered one mechanically.
It's the same idea with knucks. So.
Knuck? Yeah, that's...
No, you can break knucks, right?
No.
No, you can't? Okay.
Maybe you can
Even if they're like on the table, if they're on the table, you can still break them. But here's a small question. So I've got a gun and you've got whatever. If I shoot you and say break, what happens there? Just
you call what you break.
Okay.
So you no longer have to hit the weapon to trigger something.
Okay.
It would literally, if I'm shoot, if
and
I
say
shoot you
break
in the
weapon.
torso and say break weapon, then I've broken a weapon unless
Okay.
you avoid it. If
But
I
can you also break armor with break?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you can break shields. You can
Same
break
shields,
armor.
weapons,
you can,
armor.
Yep.
So I can also just shoot and be like break.
Yep. Do we have anything else?
On this scenario.
On the scenario.
Nope.
Yeah.